Hey, Crimson Tide fans, welcome into our 11th edition here of the Alabama Adapted Athletics Coaches Show on BamaAdapted.com. I'm Alex Boothe, joined alongside my partner Spencer Tomsett. And today we're fortunate enough to be joined by the men's wheelchair basketball head coach, Ford Burttram. Thank you for so much for joining us today, Coach Burttram.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Absolutely.
Glad to do it.
Of course. First off, the team's getting set for men's nationals next week. Just how have you seen your team grow and develop throughout this season?
Well, we've gotten a lot more comfortable with each other and comfortable with the ideas of the team concepts that we've been teaching. And so it's nice to see them progress and get to where we feel like they're firing on all cylinders. And I think there's flashes of that in the last couple of weeks. So getting ready to go up north and see if we can compete and see if we can bring that 3 days in a row. That's the trick to the trade, right? So we'll see how we do with that.
So Coach Operance, we talked to him earlier on in the season, and I asked him, what do you think is going to be the biggest challenge your team faces this year? And he said, ourselves, in that, or beating ourselves. From your perspective, do you feel like you guys have overcome that in not getting too much into each other's heads?
I feel like that's a daily battle, right? So I feel like we're blessed to have a really good group of young men. Very intellectual and very athletically gifted. So I don't disagree with his assessment, but at the same time, I feel like it's an ongoing event, right? And some days you wake up and days are great, and some days you wake up and days aren't so great. So I think it's a regular battle that this team fights, and they haven't quite figured out how to be consistent yet because the core of our group is pretty young still. So I think that is probably the most troubling thing for me as we're getting ready to go to nationals is can we be consistent, right? So I think that we work on it on a regular basis. We talk about it, and obviously, you know, when they're good, they're really good, and when they're not, they're a little bit on a struggle bus. But I have faith in them, and I think that they know that this is the time of year to really bring the best that they can and make everybody around them better. So I'm really impressed with the way they're doing that lately.
And I like what you said about the team being youthful, because we've talked about it on air all the time of how you started putting your trust in the freshmen. Guys like Preston Howell has shown up, Jason Foster. Those guys have really started to show up in practice. Was there a particular moment you saw in either of those guys of, okay, I could trust them to be either in the starting position or to get more minutes on the floor?
So I trusted Gabe and Preston right off the rip when I recruited them. Jason has earned my trust throughout the season. He's gotten better and better as the season has progressed. So, you know, I don't bring kids in that I don't have trust in usually. Right. So for me, I don't think there was a particular point in which I said, okay, this was the moment, right? Like an aha moment for me. I think it's more of watching them in practice and making sure that they're comfortable with the system. And once they get comfortable with the system, I knew that they were going to be fine on the court.
Last Friday night was senior night. You were able to honor 3 seniors and complete the season sweep against Auburn in the regular season with the 78-66 victory. Just what was that experience like with the blackout here in Strand-Harden Arena and honoring those 3 seniors?
It's always bittersweet when you honor your seniors. Like really proud of the work that they've put in over the 5 years and what they have blossomed into, and having it here at home with a blackout game and playing Auburn and really being able to handle business on the basketball court with all the noise going on around us was pretty awesome to me. I'll be real honest with you guys. Like once the jump ball goes up, I don't like everything else disappears for me. I don't know if it's something that I've like trained myself to do or if it's just part of it, but as soon as the jump ball goes up, my focus is strictly on the court and what's going on and trying to help my boys get better and take care of the task at hand. So the atmosphere, from what I heard, was really great. When I looked around at the end of the game, it was pretty awesome to see all those folks and to see the support and the love that we get here in Tuscaloosa, and really helpful that our seniors started the game and they played really well for them and that group and started us out on the right foot, and then we just kind of kept going, and so it was nice to see everybody kind of get on the court and do their thing and really take advantage of the opportunity.
Now, we talked about this with the first matchup you guys had against Auburn, where it initially was not going to be counted for a collegiate game and then ended up counting. You guys were able to win it, and how it didn't really shift the mentality. This past weekend, Missouri had to pull out due to medical concerns, and that cut essentially 2 games from your schedule. Did that have any sort of effect on the team in terms of your preparation?
Well, sort of like We've lost 6 games in the last 2 weekends of the season, really. We had some D1 teams that pulled out early, and then we lost another opportunity to play Auburn again on Saturday, and then 2 more against Missouri, so 6 opportunities. So I think the more concerning part for me wasn't necessarily the opponent. It was putting on the uniforms and having refs call the game and being able to find that consistent feel, right? And this team being young, the more reps you get, the easier it is to feel at ease with their consistency. So I feel like if anything hurt, that kind of hurt a little bit. But at the same time, I think this team is prepped and ready. We'll go through the next 3 or 4 days of practice and film work and getting ready for our opponents in the national tournament. But they've got all the tools. They just got to be able to pull them out when it's time for it.
Right.
You talked about consistency. Obviously, you play a lot of different tournaments on the road and at home throughout the season. Is there one tournament that you can point to where you could say our team played our best or most complete basketball this tournament?
No. There is not. Like, the short answer is no, right? So just about every tournament that we went to or that we had even at home, we had a great day and then we had an off day, or we had an off day and then we had a great day. I feel like our last home tournament when Texas and Arizona were in town was probably our most complete tournament for the whole season. But I don't think like that we were firing on all cylinders both days either, right? So I feel like there was some letdown there. So for me, the perfectionist that I like to be, and, I'm probably a little OCD with that, but I feel like that was probably our most consistent effort. And I really am hopeful and positive that we can bring that 3 days in a row when we get up to Southwest.
Now, one of the biggest challenges you guys have had on the season is against the Legends. You guys split the series, and the last time you guys won against them, that was during the UA Online Invitational, the one-day tournament. And that Tim Houston was just draining threes. Like, he was just incredible on all ends of the floor. And then in your last matchup this past weekend for the Hollister Invitational, something seemed off, not just necessarily with him, but the rest of the team in trying to get things together. What was your assessment of that 10 a.m. matchup against the Legends?
That we lost the game before the pregame meeting, an hour before the game. Our mindset and our focus wasn't on the task at hand, and we thought we were just going to get up and walk through that game because we walked through it a week ago and did really well. And, that team's got seasoned guys, Ryan and Michael and Jay Reed, and then all the low pointers around them. They're all seasoned, and they've all been through it, and they all know that you can lose a basketball game and it doesn't mean anything. You got to turn the page and get on to the next game. We won the game, and it's again young crew, so super high from Friday night and really packed house and really big atmosphere, senior night, and we get up the next morning, and instead of playing more college games like we were anticipating, we played ABC, who I'm not sure they really wanted to play again. But at the same time, the task at hand is the task at hand, and we didn't step up to the task at hand. And we didn't score in that whole game what we scored in the first half the last weekend we played ABC. So kind of a bittersweet disappointment for the end of the regular season for us, but at the same time, I don't think we'll harp on it. I think we'll move on to the next thing, and we'll see if we can't get better from it and realize that we made some mistakes and where we made the mistakes. And I think it was mental preparation and move on to the next task at hand.
Next week's men's nationals tournament is going to be in Southwest Minnesota State. The team hasn't played a tournament there all season long. Is there added challenges playing in an unfamiliar place that we haven't played a tournament in all year?
Yes and no. Right? So we're going to a place, and it's unfamiliar to us, but, court's 94 feet long, 50 feet wide, baskets are 10 feet tall, right? So not really, as far as a concern for me is going into a new place. We'll have a shoot-around the day before we start our first game, and so for me, the concern more is the mental state and the mental fortitude of this young crew, not where we're playing ball. You take me and my crew and put us outside at a basketball gym, right? So we would be fine anywhere we go. It's basketball is basketball. It's the other side of it that we're really trying to focus on.
And you alluded to the noise that your team has had to face through certainly defending national champions, and there's always this sort of mantra of around, not just around the wheelchair basketball scene, but in other sports. It's that Alabama's the standard to beat. Alabama is the school that we want to take down. with the way this season has gone and you heading into nationals, what do you think you would be most proud of for these guys to be able to accomplish in Southwest Minnesota?
I think I would be the most proud if they win like champions and lose like champions, no matter what the circumstances are. Having class and dignity and making themselves proud more than anything else. Like, if they're proud of their effort on the court, then the outcome will take care of itself. So I want them to be proud of them and all the work that they put in, and know that I'm proud of them and all the work that they put in. And I think that at the end of the day, the outcome will take care of itself if you do things the right way and you like really focus on winning your matchup every single play.
Yep.
and taking care of your responsibilities and making the other 4 guys around you better, then everything else will take care of itself. So I would be really proud. You know, wins or losses don't really matter to me, even though I don't like to lose.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's about the character of this group and these young men. And so if that's fully on display, then I'll be proud.
We've really seen Tim Houston take a jump from his freshman to sophomore season. When he's on the floor offensively, we usually almost always see the ball in his hands. He's been the lead facilitator for this team majority of the season. Just what have you seen from his growth from his freshman to sophomore season?
So with Ignacio leaving, we knew that Tim was going to have a big jump this year.
Yep.
Kind of anticipated for us, the stuff we've been talking to Tim about for, over a year and a half now. So impressed with the mental growth that he's had. He is a very intelligent young man. Sometimes I think that he overthinks things instead of just relaxes and plays the game. And you can tell, like, we just talked about the ABC game. He was overthinking it this last Saturday. The Saturday before, he was just playing the game. And so if I can figure out how to get him to just play the game and not overthink it, then I'll have done my job. But again, he's just young and he's learning, and he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, and you see it on his face some days at practice, and figuring out how to turn the page and just play each play for what it's for, and not worry about the previous or the next one. So I'm really impressed with him as an individual and as a basketball player, and proud of him.
And another player that's really impressed us this season as well has been Preston Howell. As a freshman, anytime he's loading up with his shots, I think he's going to make it every single time. Like, it's been really impressive to see him on the floor. What has that been like for you in seeing his growth in just his first year in the collegiate game?
I think it's really cool, man. I've been knowing Preston, so I met Preston when he was like 9 years old. He had this little, like, ballers. I've got a picture of him. He's maybe about this tall, and he's got this baller T-shirt on, right? And watching his progression throughout the years, and then having him here as one of my players, is kind of a special experience for me. And watching his progression with the college game, it kind of slows down for them as they go through the 5-year process. Some of them it takes a half a year. Some of them it takes 4 years for it to really slow down to where they see it. But he is just such a gym rat and a student of the game that he's worked his way in to figure it out. Yep. And watching him progress and watching him do stuff, and being able to get on him at practice, and then also, joke and kid with him in the locker room as he gets to know me a little bit more as a person, not just as Coach Ford. It's been really special.
And I think another thing that's certainly been special for you that we've seen, anytime we're packing up and getting things done here at the arena, even if there's 5-10 different people who are wanting to talk to you post-game, you're taking time with your son to shoot hoops around or toss his ball that he has, and talking to your wife as well. So what has that meant to you to have their continued support through your time here at Alabama?
It's priceless. Yeah. It means the world, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and I think that's all the time we have today. But once again, thank you so much, Coach Burttram, for joining us on the show. And thank you, Crimson Tide fans, for tuning in to the Alabama Adaptive Athletics Coaches Show all season long. We'd also like to take this time to thank our sponsors, Honey Stinger, Physio Elite, Powerade, and many others that allow us to do what we love to do here every single day. Thank you for tuning in, and Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.